Hi and welcome to this week's Fried AI with me, Billy McLaughlin, where I cut through the fuss and get to the facts on what all the news on AI means from this week for accountants, bookkeepers and finance professionals. Now this week I am really doing some future gazing in the big bad world of AI and also specifically for our industry. And starting off, I might be going a little bit rogue, so make sure you buckle up. First of all, I'm talking about a new entry into the Cambridge Dictionary. I know what you're thinking, Bill, you've lost the plot. What's this got to do with artificial intelligence? Well, the Cambridge Dictionary have now changed or added to the definition of slop, which traditionally was like a liquid food waste generally fed to animals. Well, now they have changed the definition or added to that definition that it also is low quality content that you find online created by artificial intelligence. So if you see some of those rubbish LinkedIn posts or terrible videos on YouTube, that is now going to be defined as slop. The reason why it's important to us, I will tell you a little bit later on in this video. This week we've also seen reports of some people seeing a mysterious new feature appear on their ChatGPT. So let me know if you have this on yours. When you have the search box and you can click on tools, there is now this new study together feature. And we've seen AI and large language models have a huge impact on education. And I have no doubt that this is going to be to do with something around education in a huge way that they want to intercept the market. So watch this space for that one, as I think this will be a release we see in the coming weeks. And on the news of OpenAI, this week they have kind of drip-fed a bit of information that their web browser will be available soon. And they want to rethink the way that people browse the web. They've also said that this could come with their operator model, but let's not forget that that does come with a $200 price tag. However, it does come at a really good time because Perplexity, one of the rival large language models, did launch Comet, their web browser, earlier this week, and that also has that $200 price tag. I can only imagine the reason for a price tag so high, and obviously not forgetting the features you get, is that it kind of has to pay for the sponsorship and the ad revenue that Google ordinarily get. So if you are usually a user of Google Chrome, I don't think it's dead yet, and I think we're also going to have to really change people's habits, and there's going to be a lot of weaning off Google Chrome. But there is so many ads and sponsored search results that come up. Perplexity doesn't have that. So that $200 price tag essentially will be replacing that ad revenue that Google have. Now, whether you're going to be using the ChatGPT one or you're going to be using Perplexity in the near future, the reason why this is important, whether this is for your practice or your clients, is if you heavily rely on search engine optimization, how can we make sure that when people are using these models or even operated to go and get the results, that we are still showing up? Because we can't effectively pay for that anymore. It's not something where we can just pay to feature on Google or pay to feature on Perplexity. We need to now find a way that these AI models can find us and do that in a way that is going to still bring us the custom through to our websites. Same goes for your clients. Now, don't get me wrong, I have said that there is an impending death of Google that I can see on the horizon, but I'm not sure how quick that will happen. I'm also not sure if it will happen or if Google are going to respond. So I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on this. I am full of behind the scenes gossip today because I've also got some leaked news from Meta, who are the Facebook company, and they have said that they're going to be releasing an AI chat that can initiate conversation and also do follow-ups. This is quite similar to another product we saw called Character AI that did hit the press for a really negative reason. It's believed to be behind the reasonings for a teenage boy to commit suicide, and also makes it even more shocking that Meta have got no ambition of putting an age restriction in place for this. However, how they see this working is you could essentially ask it for a film recommendation, and then a week later it would be like, how did you enjoy the film? Do you want some more? Would you like some music recommendations? The reason why, and again, want to bring it back to our industry, the reason why I think this would be really great is if you're already using chatbots, you are a league ahead of a lot of accountants in that sense. there is this opportunity for follow-up conversations with our clients. So if a client does message and say, I want to know my VAT number, and a couple of days later it could follow up and say, did you manage to find it? Do you need to do some cash flow forecasting? And it could really help with some of those upsell opportunities without actually having to put in any extra effort. One of the things that Meta have said about their product is that if they don't get a response, they won't keep chasing. And I think that's a really great thing for accountants to do something similar, where we do an update. If we don't get a response, we either get a human on the phone or we just leave it because the client's clearly not interested. So this follow-up and initiating conversation could actually be a really exciting opportunity for accountants that don't have time to do that normally. There's no action for now, but like I always say, when you're thinking about what your clients are doing outside of their business, if they're going to be interacting with these models that follow up, it's something that they may just expect when it comes to using your services as well. Let's get back to the slop, shall we? And it is YouTube who are really acting upon this. I imagine it's because they're the ones that are hugely impacted. But YouTube, from the 15th of July, they're only given 1 week's notice from when they release a statement to when this is going ahead. From the 15th of July, they are updating their YouTube partner program. Specifically, the monetization policies around when a content creator and how a content creator can make money and monetize their channel. This is probably because with the rise of AI technology, it is easier than ever to create videos. We see this with the VO3 model, voiceovers, avatars, and because of that AI development, YouTube is flooded with this slop that they talk about. They don't want to become an area where people no longer visit because of the quality of the content. I, for one, absolutely welcome this. I think it's a fantastic idea. I would say if you have any clients who monetize from YouTube, maybe perhaps they've got a faceless account, or if you are an accountant that is using things like AI voiceovers, etc., you may need to rethink your strategy. I think there's a middle ground. I think at the moment YouTube allows everything, and in the future they're going to say you know to monetize it you can't do that. I think they should have a middle ground of it's okay to have it on there and it will be identified and picked up that it's AI. But I think by hopefully stopping people from earning from slop, I promise that's the last time I'll say it, then I think at that point people will stop posting and hopefully the content will get better and it will reward content creators who actually put a lot of effort in. For the last couple of weeks, I have covered the big four and what they are doing around artificial intelligence. And one of the things is around the efficiencies they are seeing. PwC specifically reporting a 30% gain in efficiencies by adopting AI. We know, Billy, you've told us this before for the last 2 weeks. But what happens when you brag about your statistics is that it's not just your competitors that read the press, it is also your clients and customers. And do you know what happens when you say that you're seeing a 30% increase in your margins? They then want a discount. So Dan Priest, who is the Chief AI Officer at PwC, has come forward and said that they also want to see their customers seeing a benefit to their efficiency gains by using AI, and they are passing on some of those discounts. I suspect it's not quite the 30% that they're reporting, but it is interesting to see. You may remember we actually had this quite a lot around the inception of cloud. So when we started doing bookkeeping online, our clients were saying,
well, if there's less work to do, then why are we paying you the same amount?
Now, there's a really important message here. You put in the work, you put in the pain, and essentially you feel that to achieve those wins. I'm not convinced that those gains and the profit margins that you start to see as a practice by becoming more technologically advanced should be passed on to our clients. That's because in any other industry, if we deliver something quicker at a better quality, we would pay a premium for that. For me, it's about the quality, it's about the speed of delivery, and it's about the value of the service and the product that you are delivering to your clients. So please don't forget that, but maybe having some internal training around this to preempt these conversations, because if PwC is having them, there is a chance that you might be as well. And finally, a bit of news from over the pond now, and it is from Abacus. Now, Abacus have just raised 6.6 million to give CPAs, which are accountants over in the States, superpowers to do their job. If you haven't heard of these guys, they would say that they aim to modernize the work that we do as accountants. And I guess they're taking full advantage of a time where we are seeing a reduction in talent that we see coming through our industry, but we also see a huge increase in the client demands that we also face. So they create AI agents to replicate those repetitive tasks that we do. So I'm talking data entry, reconciliation, document classification. One of the things they talk about is pushing those juniors up the value chain to allow them to become reviewers. The thing that stands out for these guys, in my opinion, that I haven't heard already, is that the AI models they're creating can adapt with your workflow. So they understand your specific workflow that's niche to your practice. They learn from that, and then they can scale as your practice grows and adapt and change in whichever direction you want to take your practice. This is only in the US market, but as somebody who is definitely keeping a close eye on digits, I think it's only a matter of time before they do come over to the UK or potentially get replicated over here by someone who's got the funding and the knowledge to do so. That is all from me this week. The sun is shining. Have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you all next week.